This is the Wayrest Sewers dungeon. It's a 20 to 23 dungeon with 3 main bosses and 3 mini bosses. This first boss here is a mini boss, Slime Crawl, and the only real thing he does is a frontal cone tail swipe. All it does is a fair amount of damage and a knockback. It should be a fairly simple fight for most groups. Second boss here is Investigator Garlin. He is the second boss, and he's the main boss, not the main boss, but one of the bigger bosses of the dungeon. He likes to teleport around the room, so just kind of keep track of him. He also casts green orbs. He'll start chasing random players, dealing damage to anyone caught in the radius of it. He'll periodically summon 2 ghosts. Each of them have generally 717 health. Just range attack them, take them down ASAP. And he will also do a highly damaging range knockback, which seems to prefer distance target. So if you just kind of keep all grouped up around him, you should be okay. Fairly decent fight. It'll last a couple minutes for you. And next here we have the Rat Whisperer. He's a mini boss. Basically all he's going to do is cast some magic AoE damage at the tank. He's going to summon a bunch of little rats and sometimes do he's really simple, easy boss here. You should have no problems at all with him. He's only got around 8,000 hit points. You can take him down in this video, no problem at all. Next up here we have Olgrog the Hungry. He's the third boss. He's a mini boss, and he's pretty simple. He's not got a whole lot of hit points. The biggest thing is he does have fear, so he will fear you for a few seconds, and he does have a really nasty heavy melee attack that he'll do. It'll knock you back and do a fair amount of damage. Sometimes he'll stop and do this little whirlwind attack here. It's really easy to get out of the way. It's your standard tank and spank boss. And next we have Varini Pilinar. His fifth boss of the dungeon. He is not a mini boss. All you have is your tank needs to look out for his heavy attacks and block it or get out of the way. He's periodically going to cast a quickly expanding AoE spell around him. It does do a lot of damage, and it does have a brief stun to it. He also does a frontal cone attack right there. It seems to be a random direction on it. It's hard to get out of the range of it, but if you can go ahead and get out. It'll help your healers. Otherwise, you're going to get a medium amount of damage done, and you will get knocked back. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward boss. Probably take you a minute or two to take him down. Should have no problems at all with it. Next up, we have Aleni, the sixth and final boss of the dungeon. It's your typical rogue boss. She dual wields weapons, vanishes, and does have a shadow step ability. Basically, your tank just needs to block her heavy attacks. From time to time, she'll do a teleport strike to a random target, which deals a lot of damage and briefly snares them. She also vanishes roughly every 25% of her health to summon some hallucinations like this. Basically, you just want to take them down. Each one of them's got about 562 health. Each time she does do this hallucination effect, there are more and more bats each time. Once you have taken out the last hallucination, there should be 3 of them, and she should be around 25% health. At that point, she's going to take a ghost form, and she will do a bit more damage in the last face than other faces. And this is your final hallucination right there. And here's her in her ghost form, where she'll do a bit more damage than in her standard form. The big thing, just kind of keep grouped up and you should have no problems healing through it.